What if I told you the way it has always been done is not the best way? Facing your fears will change your life. The passion behind this journey is merging two separate worlds into one with the goal of creating value and awareness for a better life.
I'd rather be sidelined trying to achieve greatness than watch greatness achieved and it only set on the sideline. Now introducing your host, Jacob Emery.
This episode is brought to you by R&R Pipeline, an infrastructure company.
Welcome to another edition of the Iron and Infrastructure Podcast. Started from the bottom. Bryan McAnally on the show today. Bryan, thanks for your time.
Of course.
Glad you finally we got the opportunity to get together.
Yep.
Just met you here a few months ago through Steve Lehman.
Right.
At a get together of his. Mm-hmm. And although very different, very similar at the same time, me and
Right.
you are. So first of all, the Ohio State University.
That's right.
Graduate, 2005.
Yep.
And you have an engineering degree.
Yep.
But you are a developer of infrastructure, which could not be a better narrative to fit the show.
It fits.
It does fit. So talk about your journey, man. Let's hear who is Bryan McAnally.
So went to Newark Catholic back in the day, graduated in 98. It was immature as hell. And I knew I'd be successful someday, just had no idea. Probably like my son in a way that, thought I'd do my own thing and wasn't sure exactly how I was going to do it. But I was pretty confident I was going to be successful. So went to Ohio State, was in business actually at first, and then didn't have any idea. So talking to my dad, we talked about maybe doing civil engineering. When I graduated, I could be doing maybe civil engineering for the architecture projects. So that was an avenue. So I did civil engineering. It wasn't easy. I had to redo 2 math classes that were business, and I'm like, God damn it.
Were you good at school, like in general?
No,
Yeah.
not really.
Same.
I had to work at it.
Yeah.
I had to work at it. So, but determination would get you through it, and then my people skills. You make friends. That was the key too.
Yeah.
So we did redid my math. So I did differential. Let me see. So pre-calc, calc 1, calc 2, calc 3, calc 4, differential equations, chemistry 1, 2, physics 1, 2, and 3, and that was before I got my major for civil engineering. So you can imagine they do weed a lot of people out before you even get in there.
I bet.
And then you got to make it in. You got to have a certain GPA and all that. Which GPA I was not strong. So I think I graduated with 2.0. But they say the average millionaire's GPA is like a 2.0, so
Right.
it fits.
Yeah.
It fits.
It fits, right?
So graduated. I thought I'd be balling right out of college, and I saw that first paycheck after taxes and insurance. I remember I was getting one of the highest salaries out of our graduating class, and I saw that first paycheck. I'm like, what the hell? This can't be right. It's like all gone with taxes and insurance, and then my wife. So my wife was pregnant at the very end, and we ended up getting married my senior year at the very end, spring quarter, and it'll be 19 years this March 19th. So anyway, graduated. She started staying home. We got married. We are like poor, man. I thought I'd be balling. It was the farthest thing from the truth. It was a rude awakening, and I was on my own, and I'm like, okay, so we got to figure this out. So then I started working with my dad. Saw him work. It was different gear. I'm like, wow, that's work right there. That's work ethic. So I'm like, I need to do that and learn everything I possibly can and get this shit going, because I was, pretty immature up until that point. We started working with him. Still wasn't making much money, and they have some investment properties around town. I'm like, man, I got to make extra money. And they're like, well, you can maybe paint some of these apartments, in your free time. So
Just that hustling.
I'm like, well, first of all, we got to live, because we could barely make it work. So started working, 40 hours for him. I'd leave right away. He knew what I was doing. I'd go and start painting these apartments basically till 9 or 10 o'clock at night, starting getting a little bit of help, just paint them a little bit at a time, and was working, 40 hours for him, basically 40 hours doing this painting thing. Pretty soon I got a little side business, but it was like 7 days a week, 80 hours a week. And it was for like 5 years. And that's kind of what got me into the game, but it's probably the best thing I ever did. It taught me,
dude.
you gotta grind, and you can get through things, and you're going to have to do things you don't want to do. And that was the start of it. So
Yeah, dude, that's awesome. Because there's a point in everyone's journey that figures it out that you're on that lonely road, and it sucks. It's
sucks.
brutal. You're alone. You really don't have anyone that is like, you leave the group of people that you used to associate yourself with.
Right.
Because you realize that I got to change my environment if I'm going to change who I am in the future.
Yep.
You know, like myself, sounds like you had a very similar thing. I was dead or in jail by 21 was my ceiling of success in high school.
Yep.
I was going absolutely nowhere. Parents got divorced. I had all these, you know, outside issues that I let impact me. And my first years at R&R Pipeline, dude, I was going dead or in jail by 21. I was on track for that.
Yeah.
And then it just all kind of shifted, and I had to just build a bridge away from that that previous environment, because, you know, who I was around, what I was consuming, what I was doing on a daily was a byproduct of who I was becoming, and it wasn't the person I wanted to be.
You are who you're around.
Yeah, and that pain of being the same was just so much more than the pain of change.
Right.
But then you don't think about all the things that have to happen for you to actually change.
Right.
And it's lonely. And you either have faith it's going to work out, or you have fear and the fear buries you. But either faith or fear, you got to believe in something that you can't see yet. You just got to believe it's possible.
That's right. It's still
And
happening
anything is
today.
possible. Absolutely. Yeah, it's like the bigger our problems are, the more, you know, progress we've made.
Right.
I used to dream for the problems I have today.
Right.
10 years ago, I couldn't even imagine that I would be in this seat doing what I'm doing today.
Right.
It didn't even exist.
Right.
So the bigger the problems, I think the bigger the progress for sure.
Yep. For sure.
So you went to High State, which is badass in itself. I'm a true Buckeye fan too.
Absolutely.
By the way, I seen how much you were dedicated to that.
Yep.
So let's talk about personal development, one of my favorite subjects. So not only are you into the development space itself as far as the infrastructure and real estate, but developing you as a person. What's your go-to personal development, like strategy or book? What's a favorite book? Anything?
Rich Dad Poor Dad.
Oh, yeah.
Number one. I heard about that and I'm like, let me read this. And I was already thinking that way, but just like clarified it, you know? It was just like, wow, this is
Verification. I'm not fucking crazy.
100%. You know, I was hearing it from my dad. My dad was all into investing in real estate. I heard it my whole life. I'm like, this is real. This is great. Wife, you got to hear this. You know what I mean? So she heard it. And then, you know, from there, just various, different books, self-development, learning about real estate, learning about, you know, we did self-storage. So I just constantly watch self-storage YouTube, you know, how to fill it up faster, how to run it more efficiently. How, you know, if I was going to rent storage, how would I do it? I'd have a website, you know. So it's kind of modernizing what you're doing constantly and just constantly growing. And I try to do that. And I know you do too.
Yeah. I mean, it's to say that I have a podcast is laughable if you knew me 3 years ago.
Right.
2 years ago, probably even. Like, it's something that was not even, to say it was foreign would have been a stretch. It was like so out far of left field. It was not relatable. I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
And to think that I'm sitting on a podcast now, like whenever I do one, I have a moment of gratitude almost every episode.
Yeah.
Because I shouldn't be here.
Right.
One of my biggest fears in life was being on camera, speaking in front of a public audience,
Right.
raising my hand in class.
Yep.
Terrified the fuck out of me, dude.
Right.
Up until I was probably 26 or 27 years old.
Yep.
Grown ass fucking man, scared to death to talk in front of people.
Public speaking. Yeah.
Wild, right? Some people
Crazy.
fear death less than public speaking. Like public speaking, such a big
I hated
fear.
it.
Same. And now it's like, well, if I do this thing and I can get this outcome, what is the person on the other side of that? Who do I become?
Right.
Not what can I achieve as far as an accolade, but who am I internally?
Right.
Who am I as an individual that can go do this? And when you realize that, at least for me, it's not just that view on the mountain, it's the climb up that mountain.
Yep.
And the person you become climbing it.
Yeah.
And so you're in the content space too. You got a podcast.
True.
You're getting in the content space.
Yep.
It's rare, even though we're young, I guess, young entrepreneurs, but content is more common now. But to think about it from when we were growing up, it didn't exist.
No, not even close.
So it's like we're old. It's almost like we're these old boomers getting in the content space, but it's natural now.
Yep.
If you don't have a brand, then who the hell are you?
Right. Yeah. I mean, if people are going to invest in your company or they're going to do business with you, they're going to look you up on social media. It's just the way it is these days.
Get on Facebook, see what someone's profile picture looks like. Are they married? Do they have a family?
Yep.
Do they have a gun up in their profile picture? Are they in jail? Like you can pretty much figure out anything about anybody.
Yeah.
And if you don't have any type of brand online, what's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You know, someone's going to question like,
something's wrong there.
Are you that
private?
private?
Are they legit or what?
Right.
Yeah.
A brand, you think about brand. I always think about brands as in like branding a cow or an animal.
Yep.
You think of like Yellowstone, right? The Yellowstone brand. If you've seen a cow that was branded with that Yellowstone brand, you know, per the show, like you wouldn't probably mess with them too much, or you're going to the train station.
Right.
So a brand is either good or bad. It could be both,
Right.
but it does show everyone who you are.
Yep.
And being authentic throughout your brand is like freedom,
Yep.
because it just, I've seen people that are so fake on social media and they implode because they're not being them.
Yeah.
And it's hard to keep up with their own lies.
Right.
But just go be yourself, and it
be
doesn't
yourself.
fucking matter what
Yeah.
anyone else thinks, dude.
And be different. I mean, if you're different, that's even better.
That means that you're authentic and you're unique.
Yeah.
Which is what makes you fucking special in the first place.
Right.
I talk about I'm starting a coaching business, getting ready to launch it, Unlocking Greatness with Jacob Emery. And I truly think everyone has greatness inside of them.
Yeah.
And it's you being authentic and finding fulfillment in your life. You know,
Yeah.
greatness isn't just the MJs and the Kobe's and these, you know, high level athletes. It's everyone has it, but not everyone gets to feel it and that, like, let it out.
Right.
Unlocking greatness is just about being you and letting the world see it.
Yep.
Because what ultimately happens, if you're authentic and you're passionate about something, you end up being able to serve other people by doing that.
Absolutely.
So I think it's selfish not to do it if you're a driven person that has value.
Right. I mean, if you're going to do big things and you want to, you know, give back and affect the world in a positive way,
Yeah.
you just have to do it.
That's how you serve people, right?
I'm still selling my wife on it, but I think eventually she's going to see it and look back and realize, you know, she's still trying to get over the, hey, everyone look at me stuff, but it's just part of it.
And that's the thing. It's so hard to grasp because I struggled with that same thing first. Yeah. It's actually selfish not to do it if you have value.
Right.
And I didn't realize that at first. You know, can you help someone else expedite this pain point that you've already been through 10 times over, or you understand clearly how to get through it?
Yeah.
And just you speaking it into existence as a ease of access, how to get past it.
Right.
It's profound when you can help people that can never help you back.
Right.
And that's like my life started to change when I was able to impact people that can never impact me.
Yeah.
As far as, you know, monetary or even just helping someone with a life situation. And then knowing though that they can never repay me the same way, but they did repay me because they got over that thing and told me about it.
Yeah.
And it was like the reward for me was even bigger than I could have ever imagined.
Yeah, man.
And just
powerful.
Provide value, no expectation return.
Yep.
It's one of Jim Havens had said something in reference to that to me, and it's just like, man,
huge,
so valuable. Yeah.
Huge.
Talk a lot about real estate. So real estate investment, you're investing in yourself, developing yourself.
Yep.
Net worth is the ultimate scoreboard.
Right.
Net worth to me doesn't always equal wealth, though.
Right.
I've seen a lot of people with money that were miserable.
Yeah.
You see a lot of people that have money that commit suicide.
Yeah.
What does net worth mean to you?
That's a good question. I mean, obviously, there's the monetizing part, the wealth, the difference in your assets versus your liabilities. I was just getting a haircut today, explaining this to the barber.
Love it.
And because I'm always trying to give back, because they see me and they see me on social media and they like it, and someday I might do coaching in groups. But yeah, I was just explaining that. But yeah, it's more than that. It's being a good person and it's giving back when you can and just trying to be helpful. And yeah, at the end of the day, just being a good person.
Money is a tool.
Yeah,
it is a resource to reach and help more people.
Yep.
And yeah, I mean, I appreciate great things, nice things, material things.
Right.
But I don't look at money just as an individual like accolade for me.
Right.
Net worth is a scorecard measurable to what you can provide.
Right.
In general, it's one of the four things. Freedom to me is freedom of purpose, time, relationships, and money.
Yep.
And all four of them for me need to be there for me to be fulfilled. That's how I look at it. Money is just a tool, just like anything else, to get you to that point where you run your life the way that you want to run your life, and you do things on your terms, and you don't have to abide by anyone else's rule book.
Right.
But just having a net worth of X amount doesn't provide me, like, it's not the end all be all.
Right.
I know a lot of people that lost connection with their family.
Yeah.
Relationships that were great relationships that they ruined. Being driven and having peace is often hard to figure out the both.
Right.
The more that we grow and the more that we learn, though, especially as a driven person, the more we realize, like, it's not just about that money accolade.
No,
That's
no.
just the fuel to get the rest of it.
Yeah, because greed can get a hold of you.
And it can bury you alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Dan Martell, we were talking about him a little bit before we started recording, and on one of his coaching calls the other day, he was talking about this exact thing, like having fulfillment. And he said that he knew a billionaire that everything he had as far as value was in his net worth. That's how he perceived himself. His company, I forget if it might have been in real estate in 05, 06 timeframe when everything started going downhill. He went from being a multi-billionaire to barely having a couple $1 million. He laid down on the train tracks, let a train run over him, killed himself. Because everything was tied to that monetary value.
Oh, man.
And it was such an impactful like story. Obviously, it's an image that's impactful, but when he talked about it, it was like, don't tie everything to your value, because your value is so much more than just net worth.
Yeah,
Who the people around you, your family, your friends,
absolutely.
like your community, who you associate yourself with, what you do every day, living life on your terms, so much more than just monetary value.
Right.
And when I heard that, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah, that's deep.
That's really deep and eye-opening,
deep.
but it's true, though.
Yeah.
I know for me, and I'm sure you went through this some too, for 12 years, I was so focused on one goal, I didn't enjoy it at all.
Right.
And majority of it, because it was so damn hard and so like lonely, I was broke the whole time. Like, it sucked.
Yeah.
But if I would have embraced it,
Right.
if I would have just wrote notes to myself
Yeah.
throughout that 20 to 28 time frame, I don't really have anything documented
Yeah.
except for random shit.
Random stuff. Yeah.
Like, man, that's when you could sell the best books. And now I go back. I've actually went back and had to write like a script of my life out just to remember it, but it wasn't in the moment, so it wasn't as impactful.
Mm-hmm.
It's wild though to think about who you are today compared to who you were 20 years ago.
Night and day.
It's wild, isn't it?
Night and day. I didn't know shit.
Same.
I mean,
I still feel like I don't.
yeah.
The more I learn, it's like
100%.
the more I learn, it's like I don't know.
I haven't even tapped into half of this stuff I'm probably going to know soon. I mean, that's the way you got to think.
And for so long, you continue to grow and learn, but you don't get any value in return out of it. And then it all starts to come back tenfold. So it's like 12 years of sacrifice all came back in 2 to 3 years monetarily. And like the amount of ROI was never there. And then it was all there.
Then it just came.
And then everything accelerates after that.
Yeah.
Delayed gratification.
Yeah.
We talked a little bit about it earlier, but probably the most valuable learning lesson that you could have in life if you want to become an entrepreneur and be successful, because this shit's not easy.
No.
It's hard.
It's hard.
And what makes it even harder is thinking that it will be easy.
Yeah.
I've had that learning lesson myself.
Yeah. I mean, I'm getting ready to start these projects, and just when you think you're there, another little snag, it's just like another little kick in the nuts, but it's all part of the process, because if it was easy, everyone would be doing it.
And that's so true. You think about my life motto is persistent patience. Persistent in my pursuit. I'm relentless. I'm a fucking dog. I am a gas pedal with no brake.
Right.
Until a couple years ago. And I started persistent, but now I'm patient with the outcome, because I can force the timeline and get a mess.
Right.
The timeline is going to be what it is.
Yep.
Most of the time we cannot control it because we're not always in control of everything.
Right.
Do what we can within our control.
Mm-hmm.
Patient doesn't mean being lazy. Patient means you have maxed out what you can do with this pursuit.
Yep.
So shift to another one until you can go back to that one and do more.
There's 3 or 4 in the making. This one's on pause and this one's on pause for this reason. Do everything you can to push this. And so yeah, that's just part of the process,
What's it like navigating being a dad, being an entrepreneur, raising kids, school? You had kids young?
We did.
So, I mean,
kids young. I'll tell you what, it was difficult. I mean, we were poor. Like I said, we didn't have money when I first graduated. I'm like, man, we're going to be balling. I didn't have a clue, I was lucky enough, my college did get paid for. But after that, I was like, no, I'm cut off. And I wanted it that way. And so did he. I gave him the gas card. Okay, here we go. And I'm like, oh shit, what the hell? This is a lot different than I thought.
Yeah.
And so yeah, man, you just got to start hustling. And it wasn't easy. Obviously I was working a lot. I was gone a lot. Luckily the kids were young. I was gone. I mean, they'd go to church and go out to eat, and I'd be going to paint apartments, and I'm like, bye. I'm like, wait a minute, this isn't. I'm like, whatever. I guess this is the way it needs to be. But that was we did that for a while, and then she ended up going back to school. I mean, during that time, so she is working at Montessori because it's a little bit of money. It wasn't much, but we could get free daycare because otherwise daycare is going to eat it up.
Yeah.
Her parents did help a lot watching the kids some, but and then she went back for healthcare management, and I'm still working like that. We got these young kids.
Oh
and
my gosh,
we got sports, and we're going crazy. And she's trying to do school, and we about killed each other, but we made it through it. But that struggle, really teaches you how to get through things. And then later on in life, when you got businesses and you're trying to get through things, it's not as bad because you've been through some shit.
The biggest dragon that you ever slay is that beginning one, that first one, because you're just so naive. And
so naive.
It's so much harder when you get older. The dragons are bigger, but you're so much more equipped
more prepared
to handle it.
Yeah.
It's wild to think that, but I just think about like being in the trailer, being broke. I remember having to borrow $50 for food one week.
Yeah.
$60 a week is what I could eat on in a hotel room out of town 5 or 6 days a week. Like all these things. And I look back now and I'm just like, I could never go back and redo it. I know too much now.
No.
Right? Like I know too much now to go back and ever be that person, which is obviously why I will never be back in that position. But man, it's like when you grow out of a certain state, it's like, I don't ever want to go through that again.
No.
I know way too much now.
Yeah. I mean, so back then, I was painting all those apartments. So I finally had enough money. I had like 20 grand saved or 25. It was a lot of money back then. And we didn't have anything. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something. I got to make a move. Whatever. So I'm looking at real estate. I see this lot come available over by the country club. It's 20 grand. I'm like, hey, Dad, what do you think? Some pretty good location. It's by the country club. Okay. So I put an offer in, get the lot, get the financing. And then he's like, okay, go ahead and do it. It was just me. So if that house doesn't get built or if I'm way over budget, whatever, it's my ass, right? There's no one else to bail me out. So I'm out there. I'm running the whole job, but I'm out there pouring concrete. I'm pouring footers. I'm framing. I'm doing trim. I'm doing the siding. And I'm living it because first of all, I want to make sure it's done right. And then anything I'm doing, I can save money on. And so I finally get it done, put about 25 grand into it, which is everything we had. We rented it for a little bit more than we thought, did a 15-year note, and that's paid off now, by the way. But that was the first one. That was like me getting into the game, and I got it done, got it rented. I'm like, okay, that's step one. And then, so I worked for him through the architectural office then. I was still doing stuff on the side. So at that point, he's like, okay, we can start partnering on these moving forward, but I had to prove it to him I could do it, And so we started doing those houses. So, behind Hinder Honda, that little neighborhood, he developed that whole area there. Yep. Sold that lot sold the land to Hinder, designed those buildings for him. But he sold to another builder a lot of those lots, but there was still some left. So we started doing those investment properties there. So I think we have 8 on that street. We have like 22 total now. And during when the rates were down, we refinanced those, and those will be paid off in 2029. So,
you're not going to pay them off early?
Well, we probably will. But
why would you at 3%?
It's
right?
a low interest rate, right? So these next projects we're getting ready to do, these apartments and stuff. My dad, because I'm like, man, we should have paid these off. My dad was like, listen, just hold on.
Just with inflation itself, you're never going to get 3%. It's wild.
It would be kind of dumb to pay it off. But at the same time, it'd be kind of nice to have 22 incomes coming in.
Yeah.
It's kind of like a relief, but so I get it. So, but yeah, man, it was a grind, nothing good comes easy. It's like nothing was easy about it, but I wouldn't change it for the world.
Right.
You know what I mean? I wouldn't change that path because it taught me everything. Anything that comes up, I'm like, I can get through this. You know what I mean? I still pisses me off. I still get mad, and that company.
We're still human, right?
Yeah, the company owed me money. That's really affected me. But so after a while, I'm like, you know what? It doesn't even matter if I don't even get that money. Fuck them. You know what I mean? I'm gonna fucking make it anyway. Yeah. It's hundreds of thousands of dollars, but fuck you. And I'm gonna make it anyway. Got other stuff going on. So if I get that, or if I get a lot of it, that'd be great. But I don't absolutely need it.
Well, that's the thing. Back to the dragon analogy. You just get all these opportunities to come in, and they seem so great, but then the mask comes off that dragon. It's just another big obstacle or big detour for you to actually hit what you want.
Right.
Do you have a framework or anything that you follow when all these opportunities come up? It seems so great, so good. And then you're just like, what are my priorities? What are the things I need to do?
Yeah.
Is it hard for you to say no sometimes?
At first it was, and then I've been saying no a lot more. You know what I mean?
It's a
Especially
skill.
like building stuff for people, stuff like that. I mean, okay, we're going to build it. What are we really going to make? You know, you're going to spend all this time. The bigger the project, the more you make. You know what I mean? The bigger the budget. So little stuff, I don't really mess with it. We're doing a basement right now, but that's for an employee. And it's, you know, we have guys to keep busy and stuff like that. It makes sense. But most of the time, I'm just trying to graduate to the bigger stuff, you know, even these spec houses and stuff like that. The bigger development is where I want to be. The bigger the project, the more equity and the more cash flow, all that kind of thing. It's hard. It's hard to get it approved and everything, but it's hard for a reason. And then, you know, it's going to be worth it when you get it complete and stabilized. So that's the direction I'm trying to go. We've never gotten investors yet. So that's, you know, the Martell in me, I'm plotting that. I just want to make sure, A, we know what the hell we're doing, because you're dealing with people's money. It's a whole different ballgame. If you mess up or whatever, you got to be prepared for all that. You got to have it structured properly. So a lot of people, when they're getting these investors and they're trying to scale super fast, they're giving up like most of the equity, which I don't want to do that, because I know the equity is where the money is. So again, structuring it the right way.
Yeah.
And then, you know, getting a few, you know, a couple of these more under my belt, then we can scale and really grow fast. But I mean, we're looking at assisted living, self-storage, flex office warehouse, and multifamily. And I really could scale and kind of go crazy with all four of those. So it's exciting. But again, me growing and growing up, you just can't jump into it too fast. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can quickly dig yourself into a hole you can't get out of.
Right.
And I tell people all the time, whatever the circumstance is, you know, when you're digging yourself into a hole, put down the fucking shovel.
Right.
Like, quit digging.
Quit digging.
There's so many people just compound it by making more irrational decisions instead of just sitting down.
Yep.
Sometimes you got to take an L and just let it be a learning lesson.
Yeah, L's. I mean, and then at the end of the day, it's not really a loss. It's just a learning experience.
That's it.
You know?
One of my coaching core values is win or learn. So I win or I learn a lesson, and that's pretty much it. I've lived my life by that, because every perceived failure in life has been nothing more than a learning lesson that has propelled me to the next thing.
Steve Jobs quote, some years you kill it, some years you learn. And that's it.
I studied Steve Jobs a lot in the last couple of years.
Yep.
And his thought process, deliverable, how he interprets life, extremely powerful.
Right.
And I think about, he talks about death and he talks about time. And everybody wants to live. Nobody wants to die. Even, you know, people who believe in heaven don't want to die to get there.
Right.
Right. But then he also says, thinking about what other people's opinions are and how they can impact us and why they impact us. You know, how many times have we all had an opinion brought to us that held us back from doing something?
Right.
But it really didn't mean a damn thing at the end of it. And it's like, we don't have that long on earth.
No.
And the one thing that is inevitable is we all die. 77 and a half years was the average lifespan, I think, in 22 or 23. So 28,307 days at 77 and a half years old. At 18 years old, you live 23% of your life. You're not even a human yet. You're just growing into a person at 18.
Yeah.
So at 18 years old, 23%. So you're a quarter of the way through. If you make it to 77 and a half,
right.
Time is by far the most valuable asset. But it's not just recognizing or having the time, it's what you actually do with it.
Right.
A lot of people die at 25 and get buried at 75. Not very many people live a fulfilled life.
Right.
Man. It's sad to see it. It's really like discouraging whenever you see someone that's just alive but not living.
Right.
I hate it.
I hate it. Yeah. And I'm even guilty. I mean, you know, because I'm guilty a little bit because you're hard on yourself, right? Because you're wanting to grow, you're wanting to do things. You get setbacks and these little voices in your head like, what the hell, man? You know, but you gotta just block that shit out.
You have to. And
it's hard.
It's natural to have them thoughts.
Yeah.
As our bodies were designed to be survival creatures.
Right.
So when them thoughts come up, it goes right to the negative survival thought.
Yep.
Not the what's possible and positive thought.
Right.
And you got to train your brain to like look at it differently.
Right.
It's fucking hard though.
It is hard, man. Because some, like, you know, that quote Steve Jobs, some years you kill it and you just think it's going to be like that all the time. And then some years you have to wait longer and then things aren't the way you thought they'd be. You build some things that's not quite as good. The company owes you money, all these different things. And then, but then all of a sudden it's probably going to explode again, you know? So you just got to keep reminding yourself that.
Steve Jobs also had a quote and kind of in terms of that. If you live every day like it was your last, someday, unfortunately, you're going to be correct. So knowing that one day will be your last, you know, certainly one of these days will be your last. So remembering that you're going to die is the best way I know to understand that you really don't have anything to lose.
Yeah.
You're already naked, as in being exposed to the world.
Right.
So go live your fucking life.
Just fucking every day is like it's your last. That's, yeah. I mean, more and more I need to just think about that. More like, you think about it daily or weekly, but just almost like in the moment a lot. You just got to keep reminding yourself that. I
created like everything that every framework I've ever created is because of pain that I've had that I wouldn't overcome the next time it reoccurred. And I have like a 5-step problem solving guide, the 5P process problem solving guide. And like the first one is presentation. Present the facts. So whenever something comes up, and whether it be triggered from like an emotional state from when I was a kid, the environment I'm in, the person that said it to, whatever it is, before I say anything, I think it through. I'll take the information. I know because I'm feeling my heart rate going up. I'm feeling all these things. So like internally now, I can compartmentalize it and say, okay, what's making this? What is the root cause of this thing? Why is it really happening? What is the reality? What is the fact about this?
Right.
And just assessing the logical data. What is factual about this thing before saying a word? Dude, that in itself was powerful.
Yeah.
Because anytime that you can be insulted and not react and just smile, like it is a superpower in itself.
Superpower, yeah.
Because it doesn't bother you, it doesn't faze you. And when you are authentic, you know, in the content, whatever you're doing.
Yep.
But when you're just you, someone insults you, it doesn't fucking bug you because you don't care about their opinion.
Right.
That in itself is wild.
That's powerful. And it's not easy, but that's growth and maturity.
Yeah.
You know?
And it's recognizing that it's not you that's the problem. The person that's insulting you has something that is underlying for them, and they're taking it out on you for whatever their perception of it is.
They're just jealous. Jealous and insecure.
Yeah.
You know?
Majority of the time, insecurity is definitely at the forefront of all criticism. I welcome criticism to anyone that's in the arena. So if I was going to say, Bryan, I want you to criticize my podcast, tell me exactly what I'm doing wrong or what I'm doing right, but give me the shit back, open and honest. I would take that from you and I would look at it and I would respect it because you're in that arena with me.
Right.
If you're the man in the arena is my favorite quote. If you're a critic in the stands and you're shitting on me in the arena, I'm not going to register anything that you say. I got nothing for you.
Right.
I just can't let it come in. It's dead weight to me.
Right.
Because my whole life was that. My whole life was criticism from people that weren't trying to do what I'm doing.
Right.
And I let it weigh me down for so long.
Yeah. You can't. I mean, people that have been there and done that, that's one thing.
Yeah, and like they're not, you know, majority of people that are telling you something that they've done or they understand, they're not shitting on you for you to quit and not pursue it. They're shitting on you so you can either wake up and get a reality check, you can understand it better, they can break through to you to understand what you're not doing right. They don't want you to fail. People that have already been there, done that, don't want you to fail. They want you to succeed.
Right.
Because they know what it takes to get there.
Yeah.
What's been your biggest learning lesson on your podcast? So, you know, from starting it, what's something that you didn't see coming?
I mean, like anything else, it's not easy. You know, I mean, you get on there like, yeah, let's do a podcast. This will be great. You know, social media in general, it's not easy.
No,
it's a ton of work. And, you know, people probably see it and be like, well, I mean, God, that looks easy.
Can't be that hard.
No, it can't be that hard. It is. You kind of run out of stuff to talk about. So now you're working with people helping you write stuff. And so there's 2 avenues we're doing right now, which is just putting out content, which someone kind of helps me with. We're doing these little skits too, which that's more for views. So we're just, again, it's like anything. You're learning as you go. But it's better just dive in. But it's way harder than you think. It's way more time. It's almost like a second job, you know? But to really grow and document the journey and have everyone learn from it, I think it's necessary. That's why I keep trying to tell my wife. And on top of that, obviously, if you can make money from it too, and nothing I'm trying to do right now, I'm making money from, like, quickly. You know, it might lead to some subcontractors. It might lead to people bringing me deals or whatever. But it's, you know, I'm not really doing that right now. I'm just building the brand. seeing where it goes, and just documenting the journey.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I'm doing too. When I started this, I said to myself, 2 years consistently with no return on investment.
Yep.
I'm good with it. 0. If it's nothing but pain for 2 years, I'll accept that. And at the end of the 2 years, I'll reassess it and see if it's still what I want.
Right.
So I started in October 23. So called a year and a half or so in. It's already worth it.
Yeah.
Because of the person I became. Once
That's
again,
right.
back to the basics of life.
Yeah.
Like the amount of people I met in the network. Like me and you would have probably never met outside of a random get together.
Yep.
Maybe. We wouldn't be sitting here on a podcast.
Right.
Steve Lehman, same thing. Like I met him through Jim Havens because of a podcast.
Right.
Jim Havens came on my show.
Yep.
And then Jim went on L&K's with Luke and Kyle.
Yep. I've been on that one. Yep.
So he went on that one. Steve heard mine, and with Jim on it, like this rabbit hole, right? The chain of events, the connecting the dots, man. You know, Steve Jobs always talk about connecting the dots. It's just wild to think about. Best-selling author that I got to interview on that Driven book I was telling you about, Doug Brockman. His book changed my life. I'm in the airport of Kansas City. I'm going through the airport, and I'm listening to this book, and I screen record 3 minutes of it. And I'm sitting there like, this dude wrote this book about me. And I had never heard something like that connected so much of my life.
Wow.
Like confusion as far as just being a misfit,
Yeah.
misunderstood, always having this conviction, seeing things so differently that I was looked at like an outcast.
Right.
And in reality, I just seen things done quite like differently and quicker. I just skipped steps through for 9. I went 1, 2, 10.
Yeah.
You know, all them steps in between, I skipped past.
Right.
And like now looking back, I understand it, but dude, it was a miserable like upbringing and stuff, just not understanding why my brain was so different.
Yeah.
And like why I was so misunderstood. I'm sure you went through the same thing.
Yep.
Whenever you figure that out though, and once you realize who you really are, like self-awareness to me is a superpower.
Yep.
Because without it, who are you?
Right.
And until you really like, you have to figure out who you really are in the world and where you fit, and be accepting of that reality.
Yeah.
Like it's hard enough to unpack who you are as an individual, but
Right.
once you do, who the hell are you?
Right.
You know, and then show me the proof of you being that person.
Right.
I know a lot of people that said they were entrepreneurs or desired to be until reality hit.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've seen a lot too.
Oh, it's not easy, man. It's not for everyone. That's for damn sure. It's not easy. It's not for everyone, but yeah, I mean, if you want it bad enough and it's in your DNA.
And that's the thing. Like when people say, "Oh, I desire to be this," or this is my favorite. I deserve this.
Yeah.
Do you have it? No.
Yeah.
Well, then you don't deserve it because
Right.
you haven't earned it.
Right.
You might desire it.
Yeah.
You desire to have something. You have not earned it, so you don't deserve it.
No,
That's a reality check.
it's reality.
It's just a harsh reality. Talk about risk. What does risk mean to you as far as the risks that you've taken in life? How do you assess them?
Yeah. So early on, I mean, I was just naive. So I was just doing things and risking. And then as you get a little older and you have more to lose, you learn about risk management. And I think I've gotten better with that. I'm not saying yes to everything. There's a lot of things people started talking about, well, we should do this. And in my head, I'm thinking, nope, already. Just because, you can bet on yourself, but when you start involving other things and grouping up with people, you kind of learn quickly that if you're in control, you got a lot better chance. Usually, I mean, there's situations that are going to work, but if you're in control, or you and a partner you normally work with, you got a lot better chance than you're taking on all of this other stuff, shiny objects, and going in 90 different directions. And if you're going in all these directions, like how good can you really be? So just learning that and kind of focusing on what you're good at and what's important and where you're trying to go and how you're going to get there. You got long-term vision, and so how do you envision that happening? It's got to align with your end goals. So
yeah, just being clear about your direction in life, is huge for assessing risk. I know I look at risk twofold. What is the risk if I take it on? What is the risk if I don't?
right,
Because there's a lot of opportunity that is perceived as nothing but risk to take it, but what's the actual risk if you don't take it?
right,
There is a huge cost to inaction to me.
yep,
And so when I look at risk in itself, I'm thinking about not only the obstacles of that risk when I take on this adventure, but also what is the downfall risk if I don't take that venture on?
Sure.
Am I going to be on my deathbed one day and regret that I didn't take on all these opportunities because I was too scared?
Yep.
Or
Yep.
imposter syndrome sink in, or whatever it is. I would rather fall on my sword on my deathbed and know that I tried everything I wanted to,
Right.
and did the things that were priorities to me than to lay there and wonder what if.
Right.
Wondering what if is like hell to me.
100%.
I cannot, that is a risk to me.
Yeah.
That is the ultimate cost of inaction risk, is what if,
Yep.
having to face that reality.
And just doing social media was something that I knew I had to do, but I'm like, I don't know. I didn't like public speaking. I just kind of started doing it. And I think camera maybe is easier for me than being in front of a group. I haven't done in front of a group in a while. I'm probably going to do something with that just to get a little practice in.
Let me know. We'll collab on that for sure.
Self-development stuff. But so, but yeah, man, you gotta put yourself out there, take chances and take risks.
Yeah.
Calculated.
Other than death, every failure in life is really psychological.
Yeah.
Death is the only one that's fatal. The rest of them are not fatal. They're not final. They're just psychological warfare.
Yep.
Doesn't mean it's easy though. Right? No. Simple, not easy.
No, simple, not. Yeah. Yeah. Just lessons too.
And sometimes the lessons are a lot harder, than others, but there is a curse of knowledge. And I think I mentioned it to you earlier, but the cognitive bias we have, thinking that other people think the way that we do and understand the world that we do and put the time in that we do.
Mm-hmm.
What is leadership like for you? And I don't know how big your team is, but leadership is tough.
Leadership's tough, man. It's tough. So we are pretty, trimmed. As like we don't have a huge team. We kind of do a lot of it, which is dangerous too.
Mm-hmm.
And then that's kind of what I've been talking about, building that real estate development team when I really started scaling and growing. But I want to make sure all the things are in line. But yeah, it's not easy, and you can't do everything yourself. I know you try naturally, but you really can't grow and scale the way you want to if it's just you. So it's still pretty lean, but that's definitely in the next 5 or 10 years to really build that team up and grow it that way. Home health's grown pretty well.
Yeah.
But construction and development and even architecture is pretty lean.
Right.
But just a bunch of ass kickers.
Do you have do you have like a foundational team and then you sub out a lot?
We sub out mostly.
Yeah.
We sub out mostly.
Even on the healthcare side, do you have like your staff and then it's
the staff
ran?
there? I think is maybe like 50 employees. So it's
are you like in charge of all them, or do you have?
My wife is in charge of the day-to-day
Gotcha.
stuff. Yeah. Kind of look at the money, and it's just us. So
50 is a lot of people.
That's a lot of
That's
people.
plenty.
That's plenty of people.
Yeah.
And 143 patients is a lot. And we're trying to grow and grow. We're trying to get to 200. So we were 100 not that long ago, maybe like 6 months ago. So we're about halfway there. And it feels like we wanted to do it in a year. I think we'll be close, but that's doubling your size in a year to 18 months. I mean, that's big. So kudos to her. She's built a great team, great chemistry, and, people like working there, which that's what you want.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's culture is everything.
Culture. She's built a great culture.
Culture's king. It really is. Keith Cunningham, The Road Less Stupid.
Yeah.
He talks about culture's king. I don't know if you read that book or not.
No.
I highly recommend it.
Culture's king.
The Road Less Stupid by Keith Cunningham.
Okay.
But he talks about culture is king in that book. And he has a saying in there. He refers to dumb tax. The amount of money that you spend on doing dumb shit.
Yeah.
But it is a incredible book.
Yeah.
And he ends every chapter, let me put that on a bumper sticker, put that on a bumper sticker. And he has like a phrase for each learning lesson. It's wild to figure out what culture represents. Culture is your business.
It is.
What do you do when no one else is watching?
That's it.
What do you do when you can rip somebody off and you don't?
Right.
Like, in them moments when you can get away with something and no one will ever find out, who are you truly?
Right.
What are the values that you have as a person? What are your core values as a individual and as a company?
Right.
There's a lot of people that will take shortcuts to make a buck.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people that will lose money to do the right thing. And I think the people that are the latter ultimately end up making more tenfold than the ones that will take the shortcuts.
Comes back to you.
I think it is. how you treat life is how you receive things in life. I truly believe that. What you put into it is what you get out of it. You know, if you're going to screw people over your whole life, karma's going to get you.
Yep.
I truly believe in that.
Yep.
Tenfold, because I just think everybody has a past, everybody has a present, everybody has a future, everybody has a story. A coward and a hero come from the same background. It's just one takes the pain and as the coward and wants everyone else to feel that pain, and the hero wants to make sure no one else ever feels it.
Yep.
You just got to pick which one you are.
Comes around, goes around, man.
It does. It really does.
Comes full circle.
What's on the docket for 2025 for Bryan and his family?
Yeah, so like I said, we're getting ready to go to Clearwater Saturday. That's a little family vacation.
Yeah.
It's the first year we haven't been getting ready for baseball, which is sinking in a little bit.
Yeah.
It's good and it's bad.
I was going to say, are you on the fence?
I'm on the fence, you know. All the batting practice and stuff and bickering, you know, we'd go at it. But it, you know, like we talked about, it learned him how to work, you know, taught him how to work. But and he was very good. So we are going to miss it. Obviously, he was good. We're going to miss watching him. But he just didn't love it. You know, he wasn't 100% in. He wanted to do other things. So that's fantastic. It's the next chapter for him. But it's the first spring not getting ready for baseball, so that's a little bit sad.
Yeah.
Brandon Hess was just calling me just now about some stuff for Newer Catholic. So we'll still donate and we'll still go to some games. It'll be different though. But yeah, we're going to Clearwater. Then 20th year anniversary. Shout out, honey.
Yeah.
We're going to St. Thomas for
Say
that.
20 years, right?
20 years married.
Yeah, it's awesome.
It's awesome, yeah.
Yeah.
Hasn't always been easy for everyone listening. I mean, you know, anyone to say their marriage is perfect and there's never any issues. I mean, they're just bullshit. So, you know, there's ups and downs, and you got to stay with it throughout ups and downs. And
Yeah, because they're going to come in waves too. I mean,
gonna
it's
come in waves,
inevitable.
and we have friends that, you know, going through divorce after 20 years and stuff like that, and it like heartbreaks me, man. You know, I'm scarred from it, and I feel for my guy. But yeah. So anyway, projects coming up. We're real excited about. Been working on apartments forever. It seems like we had an assisted living actually drawings done, everything where these 24 units are going to go right behind the car wash on Mao, just down from Sheets. And we're like, well, let's do a smaller scale over on Reddington. There was a couple buildings there. And we're pretty far along, getting drawings, everything. COVID hit. And then after COVID, you could not find the help. And we've had to pause it. I mean, there was, you know, people shutting down, just wasn't the same. Couldn't find the help for a long time. Well, just recently, we feel like we can find the help again. It's kind of evening out with that pay grade. So potentially assisted living this year, but we're doing those apartments there. We got Flex Office Warehouse next to the bowling alley. Both of them we've been working on forever. I feels like 40 years. You know, like the pain points. That's my pain point recently. And it's just like it messes with you, you know, fucks with you. It's like what?
Well, that last 5% of a project, that last 1 to 2% of a project, normally is the most agonizing.
It is
because the hurdles are already done. Yeah, it's just the closeout of it.
Yeah,
and it's the hardest because it's right there, and things got to fall in line.
Yep,
and it's never on the time that we want it to be.
No,
never.
No, and then right by the apartment site is an office building that was interim healthcare for years. There's a car wash there. My uncle used to run that. Passed away recently. R.I.P. And so we're actually going to triple the size of that office building, include the car wash structure, put a new roof on, and it's going to be very cool. I'm sure everyone's going to love that.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
So you got a big year.
It's going to be a big year, and we're looking at apartments in Heath, you know, plus that assisted living. So again, it's like, how much of this can you really do without investors too? You start, you know. So yeah, it's going to be challenging, but nothing good comes easy. So.
No, and if it wasn't challenging, it wouldn't be worth it.
Right.
That's why we do it.
That's why we do it.
Yeah. It's all about not just, you know, the challenge in itself, not just about the accolade, but the person that's built throughout that duration to be able to handle these obstacles.
Right. And to start these projects, like to get a shovel in the ground, it's just going to feel so damn good because, like I said, it's
breaking ground,
right? Like we've been
Yeah.
talking about it forever, but yeah, that's going to be fantastic, and we're really looking forward to it. And you know, a bunch of other stuff coming to intermediate care facility potentially in Jefferson County, which we've done a lot of those in Youngstown and around here. We can provide housing for developmentally disabled folks, and a company can come in and facilitate and run that. And that's a big need too. So, and that's also giving back. So
Love it. Plug your podcast. What's your podcast all about?
podcast is just basically making things happen, business shit, you know, business, entrepreneurship, self-development, all that. And I just interviewed someone the other day who's been the mayor twice in Alexandria, but he was never elected. It's kind of funny. He's had throat cancer. He overcame that. His brother died when he was 42. And so it's just about overcoming and, you know, making things happen, you know, in business and entrepreneurship, you know, just making things happen, really.
Life skills.
Yeah, man.
Love it.
You know,
it's
inspiring.
And it's the thing that me and you overlook so often because it's natural for us.
Right.
That curse of competence, I mean, it's unconscious for us to be who we are today.
Right.
Because of the 20 years of time put in or whatever. But so many people need to hear them basic life lessons because they need to have a paradigm shattering moment to snap them out of their current reality.
Right.
Because, you know, you're in construction to some degree. You deal with construction workers. You know where I'm going with this. Pipeline world, construction workers in general. There is a lot of miserable fucking people in life in this industry. And it's all self-induced. It's generational normally.
Yep.
And it's so easy to overcome most of it.
Right.
It's just navigating one step in the right direction.
Yep.
The journey to 1,000 miles starts with the first step.
Yeah.
So many people are not willing to take that first step.
Yeah.
The fear of it is just so big to them that it just buries them alive. And then they end up living a life of no fulfillment and just dying ultimately at a young age.
Right.
So appreciate your time today, man. This was great.
Absolutely.
I think about some of the stuff you said earlier, and I can relate so much to it about being in the game. And, you know, you're not really in the game until your head's in your hands, 2:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
You're just contemplating life and how the hell am I going to get out of this? And until you've been in that position, I don't know that you're ever in the game.
Yeah.
Because everybody has that breaking point.
Yeah. So the first investment property I'm building, we're out there. I'm basically running the whole thing. I'm out there doing the work. And so my wife at this point would go and help me paint apartments because there'd be some help. We get a babysitter. We'd be going at night, you know. And so we're there painting that first house over by the country club on 31st Street. And we're not starting till 9:00. And she's, you know, pissed off. And I'm not happy, but I got her there. I'm like, I'm salesing her to be there, right? So I'm like, listen, we're going to laugh about this someday.
Yeah.
This fucking sucks right now, but we're going to laugh about this someday. And about 10 years later, we laughed about it, you know? But it wasn't easy. It wasn't fun. We painted the whole damn house. I sprayed it. She's back rolling, you know? And we got it done, but that's what it takes.
Them are the most profound memories too.
Yeah.
It's the ones that were the worst in the moment.
Yep.
And you look back and you're so thankful they happened because they were the ultimate like learning lesson that you needed throughout. And you don't realize it when you're in it.
You don't realize it. You just think it sucks, but it's really, you have to go through struggle to become successful. You have to.
I think the mindset today, just in society in general, and the lack of like fulfillment comes from the lack of productivity as a person and the lack of growth. Find me someone that has overcame obstacles and grown, developed himself, invested in himself, that doesn't have fulfillment in life.
Right.
I'd be shocked.
Right.
Because I think that is like the ultimate key to happiness.
Yep.
Is finding success through hardship.
Yeah.
Finding opportunity out of adversity.
Right. And it's like when we're already successful now and we go through some things, we're hard on ourselves, but we forget it's part of the process. And we're going to look back and laugh again. But when you're going through it at our level, it's you kind of forget it. And I need to get better at that because I beat myself up over things, you know, and I'm like, shit happens, man.
New levels, new devils.
That's it.
They will bury you so quickly if you're not able to realize that it's not that big of a deal.
Right.
How do you assess it and how do you embrace it? Like, can you assess it in the moment and embrace the hardship of what it feels like?
Right.
Dude, I found out, the last couple of years, one of the most profound things for me has been taking the pain and feeling every second of it.
Yeah.
And just loving the pain, embracing the pain.
Right.
Because what I've learned is when the pain is the worst, when the pressure is the hardest, I'm 3 feet from gold. I just got to push through it because it's right there.
It's right there.
And progress is on the other side. And when I embrace that, I have gratitude for that pain because that pain means that I'm doing something great.
That's it.
That pressure is a privilege to me.
Yep. So learning from today, which has been fantastic, by the way.
Yeah.
We've been talking like we've been talking for 20
I
years.
know it's wild, isn't it?
It
Yeah.
is. It goddamn flew by, but
It did.
what I want to take from today is doing just like what we're talking about, and just embracing the pain, and it's just part of the process. It doesn't mean you're any less good or anything like that. You have to go through this shit because it's not always going to be easy, and nothing good comes easy.
We don't become good at anything by not doing it more.
Right.
Stopping doing something doesn't make you better. You do it by failing and getting back up and
Yep.
going again.
Yep.
That's just part of life. I mean, you said you used to box. I used to box. You didn't get to become a better boxer by getting knocked out and quitting.
Right.
You had to stand back up and
back
take the
up.
punch again.
Yep. And
Turn the cheek the next time,
Yeah.
and learn from it.
not fall for that move when he did this and you got hit. Yeah.
My whole entire life, I feel like I've been in a 12th round of a boxing match with 15 seconds left, and one eye is completely swelled shut from getting my ass kicked, and the other eye is closed.
Yeah.
And I got one swing. 99% of the time, the world has been right about me, Brian. I've been a failure 99% of the time in my life, but the one time that I wasn't made me 100% right
That's
for
it.
my entire life.
That's it.
Because no one ever bet on me like I bet on myself, and it took one time to prove
Only
prove
takes
myself
once.
right. That's all it takes.
Only takes once, man. It's awesome.
All I needed was a chance.
Yep.
I'm going to leave it to you for final thoughts. What's your final thoughts on today?
Well, this was eye-opening. So it's been great. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Appreciate
And
your time.
we'll get you on mine.
Yeah.
And I need to push mine a little more. So I've been doing, it's a lot of time, but I need to start recording every week. Do you record every week or
Once or twice a month now.
once or twice a month?
Yeah. But I'm like 6 or 7 weeks ahead.
Yeah, I need to get on it every week, and then but I'm doing the daily real stuff too. But the long form content, I think I can bring some value and just sit down and spread knowledge, and then that's what people really want to know anyway. So loved it, and it's really inspired me today, and I'll embrace the pain a little more now.
Yeah. Love it.
And it's just eye opening. It's good to hear someone else going through it, and it's just part of the process.
It is, dude. Pain is part of the process, and there is no progress without pain.
Nope.
I truly believe that through and through. So, been an honor to have you on, dude.
Yeah,
I
man.
will take you up on that offer whenever you're ready.
Yep, absolutely.
And the only thing left to do is just do the thing that you need to do, right?
Do it. Yeah, let's get
gotta
together
do it.
outside of this too.
Yeah, absolutely.
You are who you hang around with. That's true.
That's a fact. Show me
Yeah.
your network. I'll show you your net worth.
Absolutely. So let's start getting together, man, for
Yeah,
sure.
I truly believe that too. Brian, it's been a pleasure. This has been another episode of the Iron Infrastructure Podcast. Bryan McAnally, full development, personal, professional, all of it. Another episode. Brian, appreciate your time.
Absolutely.
We're out.